Greetings, peace, everyone. Welcome to Community Radio, and I'm your host, Kim. We are back and we're live. And so today, again, this is a live show. If you would like to call in and make any kind of comments or start the topic off, you can. The number is 347-945-7680, and just press the number 1. I'll bring you in. And again, this is like an ongoing conversation. You don't have to stick to any particular topic. We can talk about whatever you like, and we can just kind of share ideas or thoughts back and forth. I also wanted to remind you all that I am also the facilitator of the class-based webinars on SaduluHouse.com, and you can go there to sign up for the Orisha train, the free Orisha training, the Anu priesthood training, phase 1, and you can also sign up for different topics on spirituality, such as water magic, candle magic, chakras, meditation, herbs, oils, all those things that you kind of get into once you start going down, continuing your journey into spirituality. Sometimes we just don't know the basics, and maybe you may be a little embarrassed to admit it or whatever, but there we kind of get into the practice a little bit deeper so that you can truly understand what it is you're doing. If you would like to sign up for any of those classes, phase 1 of the Anu spiritual training, or any of the individual spiritual concepts, such as water magic, candle magic, those herbs, any of those things, go to SaduluHouse.com. That's SAD as in dog, ULUHOUSE.com. And again, I want to welcome you all back. Today's Thursday, and there is no topic today, but I did name the show Love or Hate. I was thinking about love or fear at first, but love or hate. And some of the things I've just kind of been vibing on, how sometimes we let fear or our emotions just block our growth completely or stop us from experiencing life to the fullest. So again, there is no set topic. If you'd like to make a comment or bring up a topic, you maybe heard something on the news, or you're going through some things, or you just wanted to talk, you can press the number 1 to be heard. And I see that we do have a caller, so I'll go ahead and bring you in. 813. Greetings and welcome to Community Radio.
Greetings, Sister Kim. How you doing? This is Anwar. How you doing? Hello?
I can't hear.
You can't hear me?
Okay, 813. I can't hear you. If you can speak up just a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. We got a little bit of stuff
going
on. But... Okay, good. All right.
Just hang on just a second. Okay, got you now.
You got me.
Okay, I can hear you.
I got echo, but let me see if I do this.
Okay.
Better. Mic check.
No, I didn't hear an echo. Can you hear me?
No, yeah, everything's good. Greetings, man.
Okay. Greetings.
So, I just tapped into the last bit that you said, and it's funny that this vibration's out, because I was just going through an issue I've been going through trouble times for the last couple of days, a little bit of chaos in my way, but I was searching today, and I typed it on YouTube, and I find this funny because every time I'm going through something, I could find some definition real quick if I type in enlightenment and transformation in the topic that I'm having, right? So I said enlightenment and transformation, and then I typed in patience, right? And then I got a couple things came up. Sister Felicia did a show about the power of spirit, I believe.
Okay.
And then I looked into another show that Chief did, self-assessment and meditation.
Okay.
And what I found out, besides for all the jewels that Chief gave in self-assessment and meditation, the thing that I'm seeing right now, it's like I'm losing my train of thought. I had somebody just walk up to my car. But the things that I found first is like a quick divination that I needed. That's how good the platform that you guys have developed over these years is good, because it's, personally, like I said, I typed in enlightenment and transformation. I typed in the thing I was looking for, and these things came up, and it helped me understand that, you know, going back to what we've been talking about with the entrapment of Obatala, is that when we're stuck at a place and we're actually being what is the word, self-destructive, by not stepping out of it and looking at it from a higher angle or a different angle, and looking at a broader holistic view of what you're going through, you get stuck in the middle trying to become impatient. You know, my biggest thing is I'm being impatient right now. I want everything to get done now, but I have to go by the pace. And getting to that higher plane that Obatala is supposed to sit on, you actually get to see some of the things that I'm doing wrong, you're doing wrong, I'm doing wrong, the things that is going wrong in your life. And then you do that assessment, like, did I do something to go against what is going wrong? Did I do something to make it more healthier? Did I find a way to heal myself from this problem that I'm having? And it's funny, I stepped in on it at the end of what you said, and I think I'm on topic. I think I'm there. And like I was saying, with the stuff going out, the videos that I listened to earlier, and they were right on. Like, later on, whenever I get done working, I'm go sit down and start writing, find a quiet space. That's important, is a quiet space, and just meditate. And I'm expecting to see all my evils. I'm expecting to see all the devils, everything that I might have issues with right now. I'm expecting to see that Olokun serpent, you know.
The show that you're speaking about, you said that Chief did something. It was self-assessment and meditation. Is this a show where he used the row your boat analogy?
No, he was talking about the Mexicans. He's talking about the Mexicans, how they how first off he said he's going to set up a shrine just for the Mexican people, but he was also talking about how they come over here and they have no choice to do something, and they get themselves in a position where it's like a communal living. They have 15 people living in one house, sharing beds, off and on, you know. So that show, and at the beginning of the show, he got into that more at the end of the show. But at the beginning of the show, he gave a lot of jewels, a lot of information to help, like things to do. You know, and I'm always into things to do. What can I do about this situation? You know, and like right now, I know I'm impatient. My money, I'm thinking about my money. I need this type of money so I can do these things. But I see that I can't get this type of money until I do some self-assessment, see what is happening, what kind of insanity that I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Because it is a certain type of insanity. Because I feel like I'm going and doing the same thing over and over and over again and not getting the results that I think I'm going to get, you know? So.
Okay. And you were speaking about meditation. So one of the solutions, I don't know if Chief mentioned it in that show, or are you saying one of the solutions is for you to meditate on it? Is that what you said?
Well, you know, let me say my definition of meditation is not sitting in a yoga stance with fingers pointed outward. Meditation to me is actually sitting down, like Chief said, even in the car. I drive in the car all the time. It's quiet. So I'm sitting here thinking about the things that are going through my mind, and while I'm sitting here, I have time to jot those situations down. When I get home or when I get into another quiet space, I can sit there and say, okay, this is what is defeating me. You know, this is what is going good. This is what is going bad. This is working for me. This is not working for me. This is serving me. This is not serving me.
Okay. So are you like in the middle of it right now? Is it like happening now? Okay.
Yeah.
There's another show you should check out, and it's actually, I think it's titled Meditation, and it's another one of Chief's shows. And I think it's like a continuation of the show that you're speaking of, because in the beginning he says that he can't believe he hasn't done a show on meditation yet. Something, that is very basic. But so he goes into how to kind of get through problems, and he used the row your boat as like an analogy of getting through stuff, and how we don't like to kind of be in the moment, how we just, as soon as we encounter a problem, we just kind of skip over everything and say, you know what, well, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right, because we're so programmed to say that and to do that, and just kind of skip over it and not go through it. And I was thinking about that when I was titling the show Love and Fear, or Love or Hate, because we're so programmed to not be in the moment, and to not, like you said, assess where we are in that process. We skip over it. We skip over a lot of steps, and it makes us incapable of dealing with problems and emotions efficiently, or in a way, because we don't want to feel it, or we don't want to go through it. We just want to just, oh, you know what? Everything's going to be all right. Everything will be okay, like the song said, it'll be all over in the morning, or whatever, the church songs, and, all these songs that we have that just kind of push us through it. And I think he used the example at the time was the shooting that happened in the church, when the boy went into the church and kind of shot up the church members that were having a meeting. Well, Dylan Roof, what was it, Dylan Storm or something like that? I forget his name.
Dylan Roof, you got it. Dylan Roof, yeah.
Yeah. And I think he was saying how, like, the people they didn't go through a grieving process. They just skipped over stages and just went from one extreme to, don't worry about it, we can all hold hands and sing in church together about it, and invite the people in. Yeah. And it's like we have that attitude about problems and when we have problems, we can't, like, we just skip over certain stages. And I see that so often, just dealing with some issues recently, like I've been going through too. Like you said, you've been dealing with some stuff, but it's like we just kind of want to rush to the end. We don't want to be in it. We don't want to feel the burn or feel the pain, or talk about what you felt, or talk about the emotions that you felt, or anything. We just want it to be over, so much so that we don't even really get into a solution. We just want it to just be done. Oh, I'm not going to worry about it. Or, like Christians say, I'll just put it in God's hands. Or some people say that, and that's a way of just not having any accountability and just not doing anything about it. So, yeah,
right.
What you're saying is good. And I think he also used some other examples of meditation. Like you said, you can do a running meditation. You can do a walking meditation. It's not, like you said, sitting in lotus pose, or anything all the time, where you just have to, for some people that works, for some it doesn't. Like you said, you may get into that meditative space just driving, or riding your motorcycle, or, whatever it is. So it doesn't have to be a certain way. But I think that's a good start, to just kind of sit and look at everything from like this panoramic type view or perspective, where you can be objective and kind of remove yourself from it, so that you can see what you did, what they did. Just look at the situation as a whole,
Medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Medicine right there.
Mm-hmm.
Going into that patience too. And, one thing I've worked on is knowing that there's certain types of things. There's things that you have to be patient for, and there's certain things that you shouldn't be patient at all for. If there's certain things that needs to be done, and this is prioritizing your daily structure. And Chief even mentioned that, is like, what did you do the day before? What did you should be self-assessing every day, to every month, to every year. If you're in the midst of trying to heal your environment, heal yourself, you have to do these assessments, and you have to put a priority to them, and you have to understand that there is something that for the main goal to be reached, you're going to have patience for it. And I think everybody goes through this, is that we all go through that impatient stage, and it's just, we want to get through this, but we know we have to go through these steps, and it gets frustrating after a while, especially when you start dealing with finances, family, and all the things, that the environment in general. And the environment's calling to have this done now, but you can't get it done right now. So, so that gets a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to bring in another caller. They've had their hand up for a minute. 401. Greetings, you're on Community Radio.
Hi, my name is Danetta.
Greetings, Danetta. How are you?
I'm fine. Great. I just have a comment. I necessarily don't have a question, but I do want to express something that really been brought to my attention, and I'm a little emotional only because I'm hurt. I'm just hurt for our people, and not only our people, just human beings in general. I listened to Chief old shows lately, and I'm new to you guys. I don't know much about you guys' history and things of that nature. I did take a couple of your guys' classes, which was very enlightening, very knowledgeable. But you could tell I'm a little nervous because I'm a little shy.
That's okay.
But what I want to say is, I realize that a lot of us don't know the basics of life, and we use the word community so freely, and we don't know what that word really means. And what I understood from listening to you and Chief speaks, that it starts with family, and then you got to break down what is a family, and it starts with a man and a woman. Then you got to break it down. What's the definition of a woman, and what's the definition of a man, and what's the definition of a child? And I realized, I'm 38. I've been married for 12 years, and it's been rocky. And I realized that it wasn't just him; it's me, just as well. And I came to him one day. Came to my husband. I told my husband, I don't want to use no profanity, but I just want to express myself as much as possible.
Go ahead.
We fucked up.
We're adults.
That's exactly what I said to him. I said, I think we fucked up. And we came from a Christian background. Just to give you a little history of who we were. And, I was celibate 3 years before I got married to him, and he was a virgin. And I thought, doing this Christian walk and everything else was the right way. And I thought, and he thought, let me be honest with you, he thought too, that he got the pick of the litter. And come and find out, you think that you did everything that you're supposed to do, or, live by the Bible, did all these things, and come and find out you still don't know what family is. And Chief has really broken down that term, community and family. And it hit me so hard that I don't think a lot of us know. I look at my niece, she's 13 years old, and I have to talk to her and tell her who she is as a young woman. She don't even know the basics of anything. And I'm not blaming her. I know as her aunt and her mother, we're like her. She follows us, and we don't even know, and let alone how we going to teach her and my nephews and my children and so on and so forth. So when I told my husband that I think we fucked up, I think that he would have chose better if he had known such as certain things, and I think I would have chose better if I had known, or we would have been together and we had an understanding of what we represent in this household, and we didn't have that understanding. And believe me, we thought that we're doing everything right before we got married. Everything. And come to find out we didn't know nothing at all. And it had been a painful 12 years, you know. And my goal is, and I talked to him, and the first thing he told me, he became very quiet when I was expressing this to him. And just as much I was emotional with you, I was with my husband. And he said to me, he goes, what we need to do to fix it. He was like, you're right. He said, I messed up, you messed up. What we need to do to fix it. And the only thing I can tell him, I said, I don't know, but I know that Chief wrote this book, which we ordered off Amazon, The Functional,
right,
The Functional Family. I said, yep. I said we can just read that book every day that we're off from work, Monday or Thursdays. That's my off days. That's his off days. And we just read a chapter or two chapters because I don't think that, you know, most of his chapters are not that long, but they impacting. Right. You know, so I said, you know, if we just read a little bit of it, you know, and just, you know, meditate on it, think about it, come back and talk about it. I said that might be a start to what we need to do because our kids are still young. You know, we have 3 kids. My oldest one is 10, my youngest one is 3, and then I have my niece that I take care of. She's 13. So we still have a chance. That's why I told my husband we still have a chance, and we need to figure out how to do this. And I just want to wanted to thank you and Chief for putting the hard work. You guys may not think that no one's listening or you not touching people's lives because you have touched my life and my household. And it's only a little bit. It's not even a lot. You know, it's only a toenail fraction of what's impacting in my household. And my husband agreed. And we ordered this book, and we just got it delivered today. And the first thing he said is, when we going to start? And he never listened to a show. Never listened to a show. Don't know nothing about Chief. Not against African spirituality at all. He's not against it at all. He just said, you know, what we need to do. Just on the little bit I shared with him based on what you guys had taught. A little bit. A little bit. And
that's awesome.
It's more than awesome. It's impacting. And, you know, and I do have a question, too, at the same time.
Sure.
But I want, if people are listening and you got a husband and you have a family and you have kids or you trying to work on yourself, please take as much information from Chief, Sister Kim, the whole family, and start working. Start breaking down those walls. Start breaking that childhood. A lot of stuff when we bring into our relationships come from our childhood. You just don't know how impacting it affects our communication with one another. Even when, like, when I heard one of his, on YouTube, he had a lecture. I forgot the name of it, but it was really impacting. And it made me open my eyes a little bit about how I work in a store where there's nothing but Caucasian people. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I see people who are like me, you know, and I greet them, they don't say hi. But I can greet another race or another culture, and they, hi, how you doing? And I went home one day, and I told my husband, I said, why is always this silent tension between us? Like, we're not going to say hi, or we look at each other up and down, and we see everything that's going on in the news, but we still have this silent tension. Like, our nose go up, or we too good to greet each other, or, you know, or say hello. So what I start doing, this is small stuff. I just start greeting. If I see a brother or a sister that's African American or African, I don't know for sure that's the right term, but I'm going to use that for today. But hello, how you doing? Or I say a joke, or you want to have lunch, and believe me, it's not easy for me to do that because I'm not for sure I'm being received or I'm being, I'm going to be pushed away, and it's very hard to do that. But I get out my comfort zone, and I have found out that it has opened many doors for me to share some of the stuff that you guys have shared, and to say, maybe you should read this book, or maybe you should listen to this Blog Talk Radio, and Chief Speaks, and his old stuff like 4 or 5 years ago. Go way back and listen to that stuff, and maybe you should just, just little things. And I want to tell you guys, thank you very much, and I do want to ask a question, not for sure it's a customer service question, because I heard some of his old episodes and he don't like customer service questions. But
you can ask it here.
Okay. I want to know, and I know my husband wants to know, do you guys have anything like marriage counseling or anything that can help us from this step on?
Yes. You can actually set up an appointment with Chief, as if you're just doing a regular reading. And when you when you have your appointment, when you have that time with him, you can speak with him about it then, and then he'll take it from there.
Okay, awesome.
But yes, you can. I just want to say,
go ahead.
I'm going to keep you on. We're going to keep you on because, like I said, this is an open forum, and we're just kind of exchanging back and forth. But I do want to commend you, and I do want to say thank you very much, and you're welcome. I felt exactly like you. Okay, go ahead, Amar.
I'll just make this disclaimer. I'm not a priest. I'm not affiliated with any nation, but I am a long-time listener, and I am a single father with 2 mothers. Okay, and what we were just talking about self-assessment, I would like the marriage counseling, getting into the marriage counseling with Chief, which is wonderful. You do a quick assessment, or do a good thorough assessment before you talk to Chief, and have those questions ready for when you do get that counseling session, because then you'll be more prepared. Both of you guys kind of be on the same wavelength. Because to me, everything I'm hearing right now is something that I think out of this you can build a lot of good things that come out of this. It seems like both of you guys are there and want to participate into a greater experience in your life. So, I was telling you that video I watched just earlier, self-assessment meditation. Chief really broke down a lot of steps in regards to self-assessment. So, that's all I would add, all I had to add to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
I just wanted to say too to the caller, to Danetta, I know who you. I think I know who you are because I've seen you register for the classes. But I felt exactly like you did when I came across the information. That teeny tiny little book, because I think it's only like a little over 100 and something pages.
Right.
It's so, like you said, it's so impactful because just the way the book is even written, it uses several different couples. It's not even focused on African spirituality or anything like that. It's just really how do you mate? How do you date? What are some things that you should do? How do we avoid some of the mistakes that we've made? It's not something that's dealing with like you should, this is the way Africans are and this is how we should do it. It's coming from a space of, look, this is what works and this is what doesn't work. So each couple was very different. They weren't, African or anything like that. And I was the same way as you were. When I read that book, I was just like, oh my God, I have screwed up my whole life. I'm like, where do I start? How do I fix this? And so I feel like maybe you're in that same kind of space of, but it's never too late. That's the good thing about it. We can always start somewhere. And now that you have some definitions and some type of guidance on how to go about it, it's just like you said, I felt like you were about to cry just now. But yes. It's it's a beautiful thing because it's so relieving. It's like, gosh, I can be the one to correct all this crap or end all this crap in my family. You know what I mean? I feel like, well, I know that I am like the Eshu of my family. I'm like, okay, this is where it stops because this information came to me specifically. So it's my responsibility. I feel like it's my responsibility to do it. And the example you used about Black people having so much tension between us and everything, I want to just, it's so interesting you said it because this dawning, I was walking to the store and I was very conscious of it. And I had started doing the same thing like you said, like, I just wanted to start saying greetings or something to everybody because you never know how much that can change a person's life. You know what I mean? Just a smile or just, you know, or something, because you don't see people do that anymore. Now, I'm from the South, and we greet, you know, we wave and smile, you know, every time we pass them, we do it all the time. But in certain places, like, you can see the angst on people's faces, like they don't want to make a connection with you at all. And so when you see them, it's almost like a shock. But as I was walking to the store, I noticed like every Black person that I passed greeted me. When I looked at them and smiled, they said something back, you know, good morning, or, you know, they said something to me. And I was just like, oh, that's so nice. You know what I mean? Because it's so often that people don't do that. And like you said, it's just this silent tension or hate or something that we have. You know, we've gone through so much as a people, as a race of people, like that damage is still there. And nobody seems to know how to break through it. But luckily, like you said, you bought the book. We do have some viable solutions, and there are small things we can do. Like you said, just speaking to someone, it just takes the edge off a little bit. It makes you feel a little bit better. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted you to know that I do the same thing, and it's so funny when I do it because people always ask me, "Are you from here?" You know, where are you from? Because it's so off to them for a stranger to speak to them. It's the same thing that happened Sunday on Chief Speaks with the caller. She felt so loved at the information that Chief gave her that she was 38 as well. And it's like completely changed her life from that point on. And she was like, I got this information from somebody on the radio that doesn't even know me. You know, like how can somebody I don't even know care about me or love me that much? My own family hasn't done it up until this point. So I just wanted to say I totally agree with you. And it can be done. Like there are small things that we can do to show that we do care about each other and that you can correct some of this stuff. We just got to be brave enough and courageous enough to do it or to want to do it. You know, some people just would rather not try anything. But there are some things that you can do, you know. So, yeah, I definitely commend you and your husband for taking that on together. It's a great plan. Like you said, read a chapter a day or whatever it is. And for just trying, you know. That's a lot because you got a lot of people that don't. So,
it sounds like both you guys aren't afraid of it. It sounds like both you guys aren't afraid of the change either. That's the good thing. Cause, you know, there's no fear inside of it. Just anticipation on what can be changed. And like I said, I felt your story. I really felt your story, and I feel the energy inside of it. So I'll say it like Zach. I will let you get past this and move to a greater experience in your life, your lives, your family's lives.
Well, I really do hope so because, you know, I want to teach my son, you know, or my husband teach my son, or however we're going to teach our child, or our children, period, because I have two little girls, how the structure of a family is very important, and how to, you know, be the man he needs to be for his family, or my girls, how to be the mother or the woman they need to be for their family. And my mother, she did try. I'm not going to lie to you. She tried the best she could with what she had. But she didn't even know these basics. And I believe that if she did know, she would have applied them and gave it to us. You know, she had 5 kids by my father, and she was a single parent, you know. And and she also had to deal with depression. So a lot of times when I talk to her, sometimes she reflects on it and she said, I did the best I could, and I could have just easily gave you guys up, and I don't take it as a blow to my heart. I know what she's saying. She's saying, I fought as much as I could, fought with what I had, So when she talks to my sisters and I about her struggle and how she felt through her depression and raising 5 kids, we feel her pain and we become very patient, But then we also, let me tell you, my siblings and I, we're very close. And we come to an understanding that wherever she didn't finish, it's our responsibility to finish. Wherever she left off, it's our responsibility to take it from there, take the baton, and say, Mom, I got to do the rest. And it's hard, because when I talk to my sisters and we talk about relationships, first thing they say is, I didn't have a father, so I don't know what to do. I don't have an uncle. I had uncles, but they weren't able to step in that place. So I don't know how to talk to a man. I don't know how to express to him I'm frustrated, I'm upset. I don't even know my own power. I don't know my own, showing, even knowing who you are. Nothing, and
right.
And you try. The only thing you know is my sisters and I are very fashionable. The only thing we know is how to look good, smell good, and keep a house clean. We know that very well. And cook.
And believe it or not, that's a lot more than some. Knowing how to keep a house clean and cook, that's a lot these days.
So it hit me like a ton of bricks when I listened to these archives and Chief speaks, and he's speaking, to us, because I feel like when he's speaking to anybody else, he's speaking to me too. And he's speaking to the spirit that I have, that they have in them just as well. It's no different. And it hit me. It hit me so hard. I didn't know what to do. I had called last Sunday. I had worked third shift, and I said, I'm going to listen to Kim. I got to listen to her because I got to get in there. I got to listen to a live show at least one time. So I stayed up and I listened, and I was going to speak. But I was super duper shy. I'm super duper shy. I'm super duper quiet.
Okay.
So I said, nah, I'm not gonna do it. And so I end up, believe it or not, I end up dozing off a little bit. But with that being said, I had to call in today. My husband and I supposed to run some errands, and I told him, I said, she comes in on at 1. I had to call, and I had to make the statement because I've been quiet a little bit too long. And I had to say something to you guys about the little bit that's going on in my household.
Well, again, like I said, thank you so much for your testimony, because a lot of times, like today, we've got a lot of callers on the line, but some people don't want to share. They all use the excuse of, I'm shy or don't want to be heard on the radio. So I'm always excited, like when students call in to share, or just someone who's been listening to Chief to call in and share for a while, because everything he implements, it works, and it helps for other people to hear, not just from the students that take the class on, how it helps, because I've said a lot of times, there are like over 400 shows on our YouTube channel on Enlightenment and Transformation and the other channels that we have. And there's so much information in all of those shows. We get emails all the time of people saying, I've been listening to the shows a little bit. I really want to join the class. I don't have any money. And I'm just like, there are so many free offerings on that channel that's a class in itself. I haven't even gotten through all the shows, there, and some of the ones I still go back and re-listen to a lot of them, because as you start to grow, you'll get, you pick up new gems along the way. So you can go back and hear something that you may not have heard the first time. So it's like an ongoing thing. So you don't necessarily have to take the class to get something. Now,
Can I share something, Sister Kim?
Sure.
There's some shows that I listen to 5 or 6 times. Because it's so much information in that small. What's an hour? What's 30 minutes? What's 2 hours? It's so much information that if you write it down, you still feel like you didn't get enough.
Right. Yeah.
So sometimes I have to listen to a show and I have to listen to it again and again. And sometimes, like there's some shows. There's one show he did. It was about. He had mentioned about fire. He was describing what fire was and everything else. So it motivated me to light an incense. I listened to the show again. I had decided to replay it. I said, I'm going to replay this one more time. I got to listen to it, and I got to light fire while he's talking about it. Because, you know, he got that smooth, jazzy voice, you know? So it makes you want to get in that meditation, right? So I was like, okay, I'm listening to this brother with his smooth voice, like this incense, you know, look at fire as it burns and how it doesn't change. You know, it remains the same, but what is burning changes. So I was just, while he's talking, I'm looking at it, and I'm doing it all at the same time. And it really has helped me. There's many ways you can use these shows that you guys have in many different forms. In many different forms.
And what you did, that was a ritual in itself. Just doing that, like you said, every time you listen to it, you get another idea of how you can use that show. I use those shows a lot during rituals. Sometimes in the shows that he's done, where he's done certain prayers or whatever, I've downloaded them and just cut out that part and use them. You know what I mean? Like you said, so many different ways you can use the show. I even used to go to sleep listening to the shows just so it can even sink in, you know, subconsciously. So I'm not fighting the information, you know, It can just be, you know, it can soak in at a deeper level. But that's what I was saying. You know, a lot of people, they say, oh, I want the class, but I can't afford it. Like, when you're ready to take the class, $99 is not a lot of money. Especially, like I said, with all the information and stuff that you can get from the free shows and from the little $10 books, if they're $10. You know, I'm like, this stuff, if you really want to change and if you really want to do something, those little offerings that Chief made, you know, with those books can impact your life so drastically. I mean, look at what it's done for you. You know what I mean? Like you just said. And so, again, I just want to say to the callers that are listening as well, you don't have to be a student. Per se. You don't have to sign up, you can listen to the free shows and you can get something for it and share your experiences with everybody else and everybody that's listening. Because it's one thing to listen to me or to listen to Sister Taya, Charles, Zach, you know, we do the shows at the end of the month. But it's another when you hear from someone else. Because, of course, you know, they know we're like into the information, but when you hear it from someone else, it takes on a different life, you know, for everyone else. And people, you have to share. You know, Chief says it all. He used to say it all the time in the shows. Call in and share. And when people share, it makes him want to give more. But if you want to just listen to it and just bottle up the information and try to pass it off as your own or steal it or whatever, that makes him want to stop. Right. So, you know, thank you for your testimony and for sharing, because so often we don't get it. You know, a lot of the people listening don't get it. And like I said, though, like you just said, the ritual that you did with fire while listening to the show on fire, that in itself is a ritual. So it doesn't have to be all spooky and witchy and going to the woods and all this other kind of stuff. There are different ways you can use the show. Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you. I'm not going to stay too long because, you know, we're supposed to go. And I want to say I am going to get in contact with Chief and set up a consultation. Okay. But I want to tell you, Sister Kim, you're doing an awesome job. Chief is doing an awesome job. The family is is impacting to me. And I want to say, you guys, I just want to say thank you. I don't want you guys to stop doing the shows. And that's what everybody's thinking, you know, when Chief's going to come back. But I don't want you guys to stop. Even just hearing your voice and you answer these questions, And you know, you like the softer side to Sears to me. You remind me of that part. but I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all you guys. Even Sister Felicia, I heard some of her shows. They were very impacting, very impacting. So I want to say thank you.
Especially the shows on business. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much, and you're welcome.
Okay.
You're very welcome. Peace. Bye. Okay. We have another caller from 615. I'm going to bring them in. Oh, wrong one. Let me see. 615, you're on Community Radio. Greetings.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings. 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 How are you? We're good. How are you?
Well. I'm well. It's just hot down here, and it's crazy. But
it's hot.
Yes, it's bad, man. It's bad. I don't know what this is, but it's bad. But
wow.
I was trying to give my little testimony. You had said something that stuck out in my mind about how you was the SU of your family, and that the information had came to you for a reason.
Right.
And that's and for the sister that had called and the people that were going through something similar to her, that's the beauty of taking the course. Because it gives you ministry of your own self. It's a reason you is the way you is. It's a reason you do stuff the way you do it. Because that's one thing, that's like one of the most valuable things that I learned from Chief is you have to be who you is because it's a reason you like that. And I learned that in the course. Because you know, it could be your past life, it could be your past life path or whatever, just your purpose. This Chief make you act like that. It's you know, just be trusting yourself because you the one who has got to do it. Chief can inspire us, Chief can, you know, show us what to do, give us books, give us the classes, but we is the ones who got to do it. So like that's my, you know, advice to anybody who listening to the shows. And he said it a couple times. He's like, man, he don't want to turn it into a He don't want to get turned into a Christ figure. So don't worship him. Just listen to what he got to say and take it and apply it in your own life. Like that's the biggest piece of advice I picked up from him is trusting yourself and knowing that, you know, everything you come across is for a reason. There's nothing coincidental. It's all for a reason. But you have to trust who you is in order for any of it to work because you're the ones that got to do all the work.
Yeah. That first phase, I'm telling everybody, it's a doozy. It really is. If you really want to initiate some change into your life, that's the one you want to start with. The shows and everything are great. The class is even more in depth. And for those of you that are in the class, just know that you're going to repeat it a few times. Like going through it the first time isn't enough. You might have to go through that class 3 times at least, you know, before it really sinks in. Because as you go through it, you learn so much on the way, and then you want to go back and research some other things that you may have found, you know. So it's a heavy course. It really is. If you're truly going through it, it's not just intellectual knowledge. You know, you're not just reading to memorize a bunch of different facts. You actually go through some things. Things actually start to happen in your life, you know, which is why you will have to go through it maybe 2 or 3 times, or 3 or 4, you know, and it takes a while. There's no race to the finish line with it, you know. It takes some of us longer than others. But yeah, thank you, Dietrich, for your testimony as well. Again, hearing it from other people is a lot better than hearing it from those of us who, you know, work with our new nation, you know, because sometimes people may think like we're getting a kickback or something from Chief for doing it. And that's not the case at all. It's just, you know, our appreciation for the things that he's helped us with in our lives, you know. So glad to do it. But thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, that was it. That's what stuck out to me. It was just that, and the sister, when she was talking about the not speaking thing, that's something I noticed about down here too. Like it's like black people. I don't know if it's like that everywhere because I ain't lived nowhere but the South my whole life. But since I've been in Atlanta, it's these people. I can't say these people, but the experiences that I've had here, it's almost like they're not comfortable unless they're feeling better than you. Like they don't want to connect with other black people because once they feel that they can connect with another black person, they feel as if they're not on the high level anymore. Like that's like the stupid stuff that people say. Like I have white friends. Who cares? I don't. What were you trying to say?
That's the status
but
level.
That's how they are down here. Yeah, like
really?
It's like they associate blackness with basicness, I guess. Which is funny
I see what you're saying.
like because it's like a 98% black population here. So like because I do security, so I'm around thousands upon thousands of people every day. So, and I don't know what it is, but these people, as soon as they get an opportunity to show that they have a little bit something more than you have, they hop on it, and they are downright hurt if you don't acknowledge what they've done in their life. And I don't know what it is, but it is severe down here, like really bad.
Yeah.
But like you said,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like the sister said, like you could if it was a white person or anything else, they speaking and all that. But if you black, it's almost like what you want type thing. Or don't walk around with like nothing, or don't walk around with nothing traditional on. Oh, that's one of the more Afrocentric type, sage burning type. You know what he on. But the second they see a Buddhist in an orange robe, so tell me about Buddhism. Tell me about the Hindu culture. So I don't like. Yeah. Black is so cheap down here that it's a little bit sad because the people who fight you the hardest are the ones who look like you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm from the South as well, so I know exactly what you're speaking of. I went to a white high school and a white college. And so when I came from the white college, I went to a HBCU, historically black college. And it seemed like I got most of my African education at the white school. When I went to the HBCU, there wasn't one class, not a single class on African history or anything African. And I'm gonna mute you for a second, teacher.
Thank you.
There wasn't one class on anything African or anything like that there, and I got the most flack because at the time I was wearing my hair natural and I had locks, and I got the most pushback from the black people. When I was at the other school, nobody said anything to me about it, but when I went to the black school, it was like, oh, you need to comb your hair, you need to perm your hair. Because at this time, locks weren't popular. That wasn't the thing to do at the time. Now everybody has them. But, yeah, I got a lot of flack, even from professors, like, it would ask me, like, why would you want to do that to yourself? So the Southern thing, like, those spirits of racism are very much alive here in the South. And when I think about that, I think about, when dealing with spirituality and spirits, just certain behaviors and certain energy and fears that feed spirits, and how we don't, banish certain energies in the proper way. So when you go to certain places in the South, like, you can just feel the heaviness of it. You can feel the tension in the air. When you go into maybe like a park or something, you can feel that energy kind of bound up in trees or just in the atmosphere. You can feel the heaviness, the racism, and the history associated with it. And it's such a heavy, dark energy. It's really hard to describe. I can't put it into words effectively, but it's a really heavy energy. And then once you start to talk to the people, you really see it. So even though I'm from the South, like Dietrich said, just wearing certain clothes, or when I wore my hair natural, or whatever it was, just in talking to people, I would always get, where are you from? Are you from? I was like, I was born and raised here. Where are you from? Where are you from? They always thought I was from somewhere else. But it just goes to show, like I said, those energies and those spirits are so dense and so heavy, and it's very depressing. You can go when I travel other places, I still can feel it, but it's a different type of energy. Like even when I go east or go north or something, or even out of the country, it's a completely different energy. Like you can still feel the racism, and you can still feel that kind of self-hate we have for each other, but it's just not as heavy as it is in the South. Certain thing, I remember listening to a lecture, I think it was Bobby Hemmett, where he was speaking about the 4 girls that were bombed in a church in Alabama, and how he was saying like he can still see the spirits of those girls when he goes by that church. And again, it goes back to how you feed certain energies with fear or with hate or, whatever it is. Like those spirits have not rested. That energy is still very much there. Even when we have these disasters like these mass shootings, when you do the research, you'll find that maybe 100 years ago, 500 years ago, there was like maybe a massacre or something that happened in that area. So that energy has never been dealt with. It hasn't been banished or anything. Even the town where I'm from, I found out through a sister that wrote a book about the place, that we had one of the largest public lynchings of black people in the country. Like at once, it was like just a mass hanging, and lynching of black people. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can feel it. Not to mention that the South is still, that's the Bible Belt. So anything outside of Christianity is looked at strangely. And like Dietrich was saying, the thing with Buddhism, like we're amazed at that. It goes back to the self-hate and the, how we marvel at white people or marvel at just anything outside of our culture that's not black. Because, we don't marvel at the black stuff. We don't marvel at voodoo and things like that, or hoodoo or any other type of African spirituality. It's always whatever the direct opposite of what we do is. So Buddhism, anything else, if they don't look like us, we think it's special, I even see now, like even with Islam, it's becoming very close to like black stuff. Like, oh, that's one of them Nation Islam people. Like, we don't see anything in that anymore either. But Buddhism, things like that, yeah, we marvel at that. We think that's special. Just like Dietrich said, oh, I have white friends. That seems to be a mark of progress or something for some black people in the South. But yeah, I'm going to bring you back in, Dietrich. I was just trying to mute you for a minute because there was some noise in the background.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, you're back.
But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, like you're absolutely right, and it's heartbreaking because like I'm from Mississippi, and I went to high school in Memphis, and that's something that you would have to experience. Like for example, I remember when the first field trip, and my mama, of course, all my parents are Christian or whatever, but this is the slick, insidious stuff that they would do. And it wouldn't dawn on us until after we became adults that this was like, they kind of took a shot at us as kids. Is the first field trip I remember going on in like I want to say third or fourth grade, was to a slave plantation. And they convinced us to take some cotton souvenirs home. They convinced us to take some cotton souvenirs home. So we just out in this field, just picking this cotton, happy as a clam. I took a bag of cotton back. When I tell you, look what I got at the field. Like, how'd you get this cotton? Who went out there and picked it? My grandmama had a fit. And I'm like, why is she so mad? And it's because they were being funny. They were really being funny. And that's just like, they remind us, well, this is how the South got where it is. Because of this. They didn't say because of you, but because of this. And like one of the, if you ever seen a Christian woman lose her religion, go home with a bag of cotton and tell her that your teacher told you to pick it. You'll see how quick all of that would go out the window. But that, and I don't know about everybody else, but and another big thing in Mississippi, everyone's so quick to holler about, oh well,
I got Indian in my family, and not once have any Native American tribe offered us to come out there on that reservation with them. Not once. And it was so bad, I don't know if you heard about it, but it was in the news that the Cherokee Nation was denying black people rights into that nation, although they had direct descendants of it, because they were descendants of captured slaves. So, like, you know, Dr. John Henry Clark put it perfectly. He was like, man, we're a race of people with no allies at all. And it's the fact that, you know, like you said, we look down our nose at each other, and because once you associate with black, you automatically associate that with slaves. So I don't know if that's why they do it. So
It's painful.
Hey, your phone is breaking up real bad.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Hold on, let me see if that's me.
Okay.
Hello?
Nah, that's Kim. That's Kim.
Okay.
That's me?
I don't know what it could be. Hang on.
Is that me doing it?
Go ahead. Keep talking. No, it's
No,
me.
that's Kim.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna see if I can fix it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's just something I noticed, man. It's just like the division is real. And like, I know from the athletic perspective that, you know, I don't know if you got any white listeners or whatever, but just having a white woman is just like the biggest badge of honor, and I've never understood why. Oh, man, my wife is white, man. My girl white, these white girls, this white girl, that. What's so fascinating about that? I don't really get it. Because yeah, she might respect you, but when you take your grandmama over there, her grandmama ain't gonna respect your grandmama. So I don't know if that's what it is, or, you know, but that's just something I run into a lot down here.
Yeah.
You know,
Stop this very behind. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I feel like I heard you tell that story about the cotton one time before. I don't know if it's maybe some Matrix glitches, but man, I heard you say that story one time before on a show, and you know, I still don't get that today too, man. Like a lot of the like my son went on it's something called Nature's Classroom here. I live in town, so there's something called Nature's Classroom, and my son had went on that, and when he came back, he was breaking down like certain things that they were describing to him about the Indians and stuff like that, and bringing back certain images on paperwork of the so-called Seminole Indians that were in this area. And I'm looking at it like, yo, this is completely inaccurate, you know. And I was at my younger years of studies at that point in time, and it's funny how the public school. Because I feel exactly what Kim was saying also about the how when she went to a black college there was no African education, where in the public schools they give you an education of indigenous type living, but they still put their corruption inside of that. And it's just funny how we keep on falling into that same trap. That same trap.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm back. I think it's cleared up a little bit now. If I'm still breaking up, just let me know. Yeah. I was gonna. Okay. I wanted to agree with you on more. Like I said, a lot of my just some basic knowledge about African history did come from the white school, but for the most part, I did the research on my own. Ever since I was a kid, I've always just wanted to know, so I did it on my own. But the formal, you know, as far as the history and things, like I did get that at the white college. Like there wasn't a single class there at the HBCU, and we had some very notable professors that taught at that school. For example, George James was a professor there. He wrote Stolen Legacy, when he talked about how the Greeks stole a lot of, well, I don't say stole or adopted, whatever you want to say. Got it from African, studied under the Africans. And I'm like, why is this not even a required reading? Because when you come into, I say consciousness, or, you know, the black community or whatever, like that's like one of the main books that's right up there with Dr. Clark and everybody else. I'm like, this is like nobody even knows. I thought it was just strange. But again, and then even with the whole, you all were talking about the Native Americans or Cherokee and things. I did a little research on that once before, and I found that a lot of reasons for this type of thing where you can't claim that status is because it still has a lot to do with land. And I remember there was an act, or there was a law passed some time ago. I can't recall the specifics, but a lot of white people were claiming Native American status, and that was so that they could get the land. Like once it was declared that the natives should have some land, that's when white people started saying, "Oh, they were Native American," and so a lot of that came. Yeah, so they started snatching up the land by claiming that, and a lot of the Native Americans, so-called Native Americans that you see now, that are saying that they're Cherokee and say that they're all these different types of these different groups of people, are not Native at all, but they're very white. They don't look like Native people at all, but they claim that they're Native, and that's the reason why, so that they can snatch up land. The same thing is going on in Africa. I have some friends from Ghana, and they even said like there's a whole section of Ghana that's almost all Chinese. It's like they're taking over one of the main food staples in Ghana now is noodles. And it's like they are coming over and they're getting with the women and everything for that reason only. And that's to secure land so they can bring more people over to the continent and they can claim status. They can say that this is my land because, I'm in this family, or I'm with this woman. I've even seen pictures of men who come over who are sitting next to chiefs or wearing African garb, claiming the land and claiming that they own a piece of, the culture or the land or whatever, just for that reason. So it's an economic move, for a lot of people. It's a deep. I mean, you can research it yourself, but this is going on now.
I think they
what's
call
the section
gentrification.
Well, it's more than gentrification. I mean, they are seriously. Yeah, it's more than that, because what they're doing, and when you hear about these little wars and things that are going on, or Africans attacking people just for when they try to make it seem like it's for no reason, it's because these people are just coming over and they're just setting up on someone's property. They're not going through the proper channels, or they're not going, because a lot of things are still handled tribally over there. Like you have to go to the chief, or you have to go to the people that are already on that land. They don't deal with laws the way we, it's not always like a piece of paper and go to court. Things are still handled a certain way. And so they come over and they completely disrespect that. And they just set up camp. They go and drill for oil or diamonds or whatever it is they're looking for. They just go and they just, just kind of bogart the land. They don't care. And so then that's when you hear these stories of people, of Africans just, killing people or shooting them. It's because they just came over and just set up camp, because they have no respect for how things are done in that country. And so, when they do that, they come over, they just set up, and then they take what they want from the land and they leave the equipment there to rot. It ruins the water, it ruins the crops, it ruins the soil. It's just such a huge loop, of things that happen as a result of that. So I say it's much bigger than gentrification. This is like gentrification on a whole nother level. Level.
I'm from Suriname, and the story that you just said, the theme that you just said, is what the Dutch did to the Philippines and in Suriname. And it's funny that that it's not just the Dutch that did that. But from the history that I know from Suriname, the Dutch did that to Suriname. And alongside of the Philippines and all the other quote unquote colonies that they had, they did that. They left the people with just nothing, and they went through ravish poverty, just like Haiti. The French did it to Haiti also. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And by the time we were able to even get our mining back to where we were, as in from Suriname, we supply a very large portion of bauxite and that's usually made for aluminum, like aluminum foil. Like Reynolds Wrap was buying bauxite tools for a long time, and they finally moved out now. Now we have certain mines in our country that we can't mine anymore, but if we had the equipment, we can readjust the land and go to another area to get some bauxite and bring wealth and wealth to the country. But now we got the Chinese coming in and doing the same thing, but now not as a colony, but as a colonizer, but as a business partner. So it's funny how that whole situation's happening, and it just feed off that play how they're doing it in Ghana is that we're allowing this stuff to happen too, to a certain degree, because like even in my country, there's political officials that are wanting certain countries to come over there and invest money inside so we can continue to do this, but we've never sat there and said, you know what, let's take this money that we've made and invest in our own selves. We keep on letting
other people come in.
Legislation for other people to come in and do it, and it's not helping them.
Yeah, and you know what? Since you even said that, that's one thing that we need to look at. When people like to glorify the good old days of when they think black people didn't sin and we were so nice and peaceful with each other and we didn't have any problems, how did we fall? How did the civilization fall? It was because we allowed other people to come in and infiltrate. We were just as, we're evil towards each other now. How do they think, do they think that never existed? Like that doesn't happen. It still exists there on the planet today. On the continent today. Like, we can be very evil towards each other. And that's what happens is like we let other people come in and set up shop, and it wreaks havoc because we don't want to deal with each other. And there's a movie I want to suggest. I don't know if you've all seen it. It's called, I think it's Coconut Revolution. I think it's on, you can watch it on YouTube if I'm not sure. But it talks about that very thing. I think in the movie, I think they were in New Guinea or somewhere where they came in. They just show how this happens. And of course, the first thing you go in with the missionaries, You first try to pull the people away from their culture. And then that makes it a whole lot easier to infiltrate. So they come in and like we said, they set up their mining equipment or whatever it is that they're trying to do and, kind of rape the country. And then once they get what they want and use, cheap labor by, making the people that live on that land kind of a slave to whatever it is they're doing, they leave that equipment there, and it just rots and it ruins the land, it ruins the water system. So this is something that we need to take a good look at. And I've noticed some other things going on, like people like Mugabe, who's there, who take a very strong stance against anybody coming in. And people look at him as if he's some type of dictator or tyrant, or like he's, crazy for doing that. But I think it's because he's, studied this and he knows what's going on. Like, no, your land, your laws and stuff don't work over here. We don't work like that. If you come in, you're going to have to submit to us. I'm going to bring in another caller that has their hand up. 212. You're on Community Radio. Welcome.
Hello?
Greetings.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I think that was a spam caller or something. I couldn't even hear him. But, yeah, it's like, check. Okay. Let me see if I can bring them back in. Hang on. 212?
Hello?
Are you still there? Yes, are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, hi, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Good, my name is Mitchell Smith. Thank you so much for taking my call. Really much appreciated.
No problem.
I'll try and speak up, but if he hears me, there could be trouble, okay? Hello?
Okay, yeah, I think that was a weird call there. And you know what? We got one of those calls, the other strong too, but interesting. But back to what we were saying, I just wanted to say that, this is gentrification on a whole nother level. And I think, things like that are some things that we need to pay attention to. And going back to Danetta that called in, spoke about the impact on her family. When we're building our families, these are some things that we need to remember, because your wealth is your family. And that's how you build wealth. So I think, books like Solutions for Dysfunctional Families and some of the other works that she has done kind of put us in that state of mind so that we can start to build wealth again and build healthier stronger families. And so, so we can have the right mindset to look at events like we're speaking of gentrification or just the self-hatred that we have towards each other, and we can make better decisions. Let's see if there are any other callers. Again, if you would like to call in and make a comment, or if you have a question, the number is 347-945-7680. Just press the number 1 and I'll bring you in. And
hello?
Let's see. Yes.
I was going to ask a question real quick.
Sure.
Can you hear me? Do y'all feel that this Karina Gaines thing is a divide and conquer tactic?
I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't watch the news and stuff like that very often. What's going on?
Okay. Well, apparently it was this, little, I think she was 23 years old. She had 2 kids, a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. And she, how people be recording the police while they pull them over and stuff. So this particular girl, they said her Facebook, she got pulled over by the police, got harassed or whatever. She Facebook Lived it. And a couple of days ago, they canceled her Facebook account. Like they was like blocking her posts and stuff. So I think a day ago or 2 days ago, she got shot on her front porch while she was holding her 5-year-old son. And they said that her boyfriend had escaped out of the window with the 1-year-old. Now everybody going around saying that, she was protecting her family from the police with the gun, while her boyfriend was escaping away with the baby. He jumped out the window and ran off and let her get shot and killed, and the 5-year-old got shot. So all the women are like, well, that's the problem with black men now. They're not standing up and protecting the women. And all the men are saying, well, she shouldn't have been shooting at the police. I was reading about in the book called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, I think, and it talked about how, the tactics that like, they're not going to be no more conventional wars. Like the whole purpose of war is to dismantle an enemy from the inside, and it attacks their military, spiritual, economic, cultural, and personal levels, and you have to dismantle them like that. So now on social media and just in general, like young black people are looking at each other sideways, like, well, if black women weren't so loud, we wouldn't have these problems. And then on the other end of it, black women are saying, well, black men weren't so cowardly, we wouldn't have these problems. So how do you feel that, like, what do you feel that's all about? Because I think that's just a way to get us at odds against each other. That way we won't trust each other. And I think personally, and I'm just a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, that black women make up either the largest minority group or the largest group of college-educated women in the United States. And I think they're trying to get rid of black men so white men can marry these educated black women and get them to work for them. The same thing that the Chinese are doing to them African princesses in Nigeria. Like that's what I think is going on. So I just wanted to know what your perspective was on that.
Well, just going off of the information that you gave me, because I wasn't familiar with the story. I don't think this is any new tactic. I don't think this is anything new. When, like I said, even like I was talking about the coconut revolution and other things, anytime colonization happens, it's the same MO. It's like, first you go in with the missionaries don't work, you attack the women. So you go in, it's like the Willie Lynch thing. The women are under attack. The same thing happened with feminism or the feminist movement. And after the feminist movement, you had the whole welfare system thing put in place to where it was more beneficial for women financially to not have a man. And we're the recipients of those two movements. We're the recipients of those two things. So I think that, like I said, just going on what you said, on one hand, it's a way to open up the dialogue. On another hand, I don't see it as anything new. When we read about things like the Willie Lynch letter and all these old things that kind of we look at as old that happened to us, we got to recognize what was basically done. Because one thing about white supremacy, I would say, is that have not changed. The things that are the chess moves that they make is the same movement every time. It's just updated for the times. So now they have realized that, look, everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on social media. So watching the news, like back in the day, like my grandmother or my mother, back when they were younger, or back when my mother was younger, if it came on TV, they believed it. That was the medium for that time. So programming came through the television, watching people get beat up, watching dogs attack us on TV. Whatever they wanted to implant, it happened on TV. Now, TV is not such a big deal. If you look at it, like even censorization on TV is different. Like you can curse on TV. You got, same-sex stuff happening with not just with adults, but even with young people on TV. It's like no holds barred now on just regular cable TV. So even so now they've recognized, like, okay, the next thing to do, we got to step it up. It's social media. And the tricky thing with social media is you don't know if it's real or not, just like you didn't know with television. But it's credible because they know that this generation of kids relies so heavily on these mediums to get information. So anything can be implanted. I don't think, like I said, again, I don't think this is anything different. On one hand, it's a way to kind of get the conversation started and to stir the pot up a little bit. But at the same time, it's still a way to kind of conquer and divide again. It's still an attack on the women to get the women to hate the men or get the men to hate the women.
And the funny thing is that a couple years ago, and I don't know if anyone was paying attention, that they actually signed a bill in Congress speaking on public propaganda. Now, I didn't read the whole bill, but I remember the news brief and all the stuff that came out in regards to this. And it was a couple years ago. It's probably like 4 years ago, four years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So I'm going to look that information up for next time so I can have information on that. But I know there's a bill that's out that states that. Now they can publicly go on TV and propagandize through that. Even though they've been doing that for years. But now it's like they're allowed to,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to bring in another caller. Someone else has their hand up. 347. You're on Community Radio.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. I've been listening.
Thank you.
Hello?
Okay. Yes.
Hi. I've been listening, and I could not agree more with television and the media and social media, how it's influencing our children. And you've been making some incredible points. I'm actually a single father, and I've been having difficulty with my son, Ryan, and I just don't know what to do. I don't know where his behavior is coming from. It's completely unpredictable. Do you have any advice on how I could, to deal with him and kind of relax him a little bit?
I don't. Can you be more specific about what kind of problems you're having?
Well, he frightens me. The other day he stole money from me. What should I do? And then he stole my car. Again, as a single dad, I can't even date anymore because I'll bring a date home and he's crazy. He screams at the women I come home with. One time he tried to attack one. He threw an egg at her. I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end.
Okay. Hang on just a second. Let me bring someone else in.
Reading.
Let's see. Hang on just a second.
So,
I'm just trying to... We can't hear you.
you were expressing some issues with your son, Ryan.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
Greetings. You were expressing some issues with your son, Ryan. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you. I'm
Could
here.
anybody? Okay. Okay.
Me?
Okay, good.
We can hear you.
So you can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. So you were saying that your son Ryan attacks your dates and whatnot?
Not only, yes, he attacks my dates. He frightens me. He stole money from me. He threatened me. He stole my car. And I just don't know what to do.
Why don't you just send him away? Send him to boarding school.
I can't afford to send him to boarding school. Do you know how expensive that is?
Well, there's a lot of shelters. Where do you live?
I'm trying to get in touch with my son spiritually. Should I kick him out of the house? Should I call the police on him? What should I do?
You said you're trying to get in touch with him spiritually?
Yes, I have to understand. I've tried to get in touch with him spiritually, but then he gets very aggressive with me. He's a black belt in karate. I don't know if that was a mistake on my part to give him karate lessons, because I thought that would kind of relax him and get some of that energy out.
Yeah. So where's his mother at?
The mother left. She's been gone for a few years now.
Yeah, she's been gone for a few years. How old is Ryan?
Ryan is 12.
Ryan's 12, and he beat you up.
He has punched me before. He punched me in the neck. He's kicked me before. He's pushed me before, and I'm not going to. I'm not a violent man, so I'm not gonna fight fire with fire. I just close my door and
You
walk
said he's
away.
tortured you.
No, I'm not gonna fight fire with fire. He does. Yes,
Right.
He does
You said he's kicked you, he's punched you, and he's tortured you.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? You should probably just take him to your local precinct, have him locked up. If you send him to the state penitentiary, he can probably learn a good trade. He can learn how to sew. He can learn how to work on TVs and things like that. I would take him, drop him off at a shelter or your local precinct.
Okay, as a 12-year-old, they would send him to a juvenile facility?
No. You want a kid like that in an adult jail. Yeah, send him to an adult jail so he can get a good trade, because the juvenile facilities, they don't really teach him anything. But if he goes to an adult jail, he can learn telemarketing. He can make license plates and all kind of things.
Who are you on the phone with, Dad?
There you go.
No,
there he is. There's Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you guys ever heard of the Jerky Boys?
Who is this?
Pardon me?
This is the
What are
Jerky
you telling
Boys.
my dad to do?
I'm telling him that he should send you to jail because you have nothing else better to do but to make prank phone calls.
What are you telling my dad to do?
Yeah. So this is Daddy's son time. This is what you do. All right. So we're gonna. You ready? You finished? You finished with your joke?
No.
Is this over? Okay.
No.
Well, let's hear your punchline. Go ahead, so we can get back to our show. You done now? Okay. So we knew that was spam from the beginning. I don't know if we can call it spam at this point. It's probably called something different in our newer age. But sometimes you got to give the trickster a little bit of food, and then they'll go away. All right, I'm going to get off the phone line and give it back to Sister Kim.
Okay. So, again, we're back. That was interesting. Like I said, I think that same person called, it might have been Tuesday or the week before. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday. Yeah.
I love how that just went down. I really do. I am Big smiles from ear to ear, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, I mean, how did you even get this number? But anyway, back to what we were speaking about. We got about 10 minutes left, everyone. If you'd like to make a comment, or if you have a question, or like to say something, you can press. Oh, they just hung up. They just dropped. So yeah, that was a crank call. Just press the number 1 to be heard, and apologize for that last call. Kind of. Then again, I don't. I'm glad Chief came in and dealt with it. So, yeah, interesting. But yeah, if you can get a chance, check out that movie, Coconut Revolution. It's interesting because, again, we were talking about gentrification. What happened is that when the company came in to take over the land, the first thing they built was a church. And they got these people to start going to church, of course. And even when they saw how it was damaging their village and how the mining and everything, how it was tearing everything apart, it was poisoning the water, it was ruining the crops, and they were trying to come up with a solution to fight back. They were actually going to fight back. The men got together and everything. The one thing that they did not destroy was that church. They kept that church. And as a result, they didn't win. It was like, it was, they still had the issues. So it's interesting to me, when some people try to justify certain religions, and I'm not well, I guess I kind of am. I don't know. But certain traditions are completely opposite of indigenous cultures. Indigenous, I don't want to call it religions, but indigenous cultures. It's just opposite. There's no way to justify it. I'm sorry. It breeds certain behaviors and a certain type of thinking. It just does. You can tell me all day long about good things that were in the Bible or this, that, the other, but it's the culture that it breeds. I mean, just looking at the basics of it is, when they talk about the Trinity, is the Holy Spirit and the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So already we see an imbalance. There's no woman there. So we know what the highest values are in this particular tradition. And if you read it, first of all, you got to go all the way back. There's so many translations of the Bible, it's ridiculous. If you go back even to I remember trying to read a Bible from 1611. This was before the King James version. You can't even read it, and it's in English. You can't even understand it. It's so when we hold on to certain things, I remember asking Chief once before, how did he get into African spirituality or indigenous spirituality? And the first thing he said is, I wanted to reclaim everything that was taken from me. I wanted to know about it. I didn't care. I wanted to reclaim everything that was taken. If they took it, I want to know. If they took my language, I want my language back. If they took my religion, I want to know what was my religion, what was going on. So I wanted to reclaim everything. And then from that, I'll create whatever it is I need to create. So I think we got to kind of have that same stance. And I can't understand for the life of me even today why some people don't have the same attitude. It's just we try to keep the same junk that we have, the same problems that we have, and try to make something of it. It's the same thing like what the caller was speaking about earlier with the family. Like we just kind of keep accepting the same trashy behavior, the same dysfunction, generation after generation, without properly analyzing it and taking an assessment and seeing how it has damaged us so bad. But we still want to try to make lemonade out of it. We still try to hold on to little scraps of it because it's just what we're familiar with, instead of just saying, you know what, this is crazy. I want back everything that was taken from me. Let's start from there. And then we'll see, once I get that medicine or once I get that information, then I'll see if what was given to me was of any, sustenance. But it wasn't. But right. Again, go back to the Coconut Revolution. Like I said, the tactics don't change. The only thing that's elevated is they have learned to adapt to the environment. So if social media is the way to go, we're going to use the same tactics because it works. It works. That's one thing about it. They keep doing the same thing because the same thing works every time. Like Chief has always said, we're not a people of memory. It works. So they're gonna use the same tactics again, just on a different through a different medium. Same thing. So again, Dietrich, I had not heard about that story, but again, like I said, it sounds like the same thing. Now it's just playing out on social media. Like I was saying the other day, the slave movies didn't get this generation of kids. They couldn't get that off on them. The kids don't watch TV like that anymore. They don't sit around the TV and believe everything they see on TV. But they do believe everything they see and hear on social media. So they're like, you know what? Let's pump it through social media now. TV worked for a couple of generations ago. It don't work anymore. Reality TV worked for a little while. Now that doesn't work anymore. But people believe in social media. Believe everything they read and see on social media.
Yeah.
Are you still there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. But I agree with that. And that's, I've been taking a hiatus from all that stuff. It's like you got to really take a brainwashing from that social media and just media, period. And you'll really kind of start digging into the core values or the morals that you're regaining from all the studies that we do, all the information that we seem to be, all the information that seems to be put out in the stuff that you take in. Once you take that hiatus from all that, all the YouTube, the Facebook, the conversation that they keep on having, because it's consistent, like you said, it's a consistent conversation. There's always somebody getting shot. There's always man versus a man, a woman versus a woman, a woman versus man.
Right.
And they're constantly drilling us with this, these storylines, and we never could get into that still space to see that, okay, this is not how I'm raising my family. This is not how I'm going through myself. I'm not going to deal with this in my house until we all get to that still point. And that still point is important. And just for my experience the last couple of days, that that still point has helped me out a lot. So and what was it? The sister that called in earlier too, she said something about her making sure that she's her and her husband are giving the information to her children. One thing Chief always says is that we learn by what we see, or how can I say it? It's not by what we say, it's by what you see us do. And those kids, just by you taking these steps to enlighten yourself and better yourself and cause greater experiences for your family, the children are going to learn from that. Just off top by seeing it and being involved in it. That's the experience that I got with my kids, and a lot of the things that I'm seeing my older son just manifest is coming from like the things I've spoken to and the things that he's seen me go through, So.
Yeah. That's one thing about it. Kids, they especially these kids nowadays, they learn through action. Period. I remember listening to another show Chief did where he was just talking about how do you get through the kids, and he brought up the 50 Cent came out, how all the kids were crunk, all excited about 50 Cent, and he was like they were that way because if he said he was shot however many times, he showed them that many bullet wounds. You know what I mean? So it's like they were finally happy to see evidence of somebody, evidence of a person saying this is what I do, and they could actually show them this is the result of it. You know what I mean? So like this generation of kids, they don't listen to what you say. They wanna see you do it, and then from what I see from what you're doing, then I can decide whether or not I'm gonna get with this or not. They don't really care about what you say. Yeah. Right. So we're down to about 30 seconds left in the show. Again, I want to thank everyone for calling in and the spammer.
That was funny.
Again, that was funny. Comic relief, yeah. And again, we'll be back next Tuesday, same time, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, call in early with your comments. Call in and share what you've learned so far. Thank you to those of you that consistently call in and support. Michelle, I see you're there. Anwar, Dietrich, all of you who are listening to Chief all the time. So I'm Kim. Thank you for tuning in to Community Radio. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.
Peace.